behind the scenes footage.
There we go.
Yeah,
I was waiting for
always.
that. And now the real deal.
And now we're live. Always got to mention the behind the scenes footage. It's what's the word? It's like a tradition now.
Mm-hmm.
Have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is IBAS Radio with Adam and Zach. I'm just gonna jump right in. You get a haircut?
Yeah.
All right. Looking good, dude. Dang it,
A week
man.
ago.
Was it a week ago? Still looks like freshly
So.
cut.
Maybe it was after our last podcast.
All right, man. I gotta stop looking at your hair. Bums me out. Bums me out, dude. At some point, I started growing hair in my ears, which is not cool. And I notice a lot of times, so you're guilty of it too. When I'm talking to people, they'll be looking at me in my eyes, and then their gaze will drift over to my ears, and then they just quickly switch it back. And so I try to follow. I try to follow the eyes a lot. Unfortunately, man, I don't know how to shave inside my ears. I mean, I've tried to like put a razor in there, but I cut myself. I think you can buy little clippers, but
A little bit of scissor action.
it is. But it's so hard to get into the routine of like trimming ear and nose hair. So I just let it ride. I don't care. I'll just be one of these weird guys with ear hair. Doesn't matter.
Now I'm gonna keep looking. Okay.
Just look, dude. Just go ahead. It doesn't bother me. Go ahead and just soak it up. Like, soak it up. All right.
So remember last week I mentioned the thing about seeing only one eye.
Yeah. Is that real?
Oh yeah. Well, you can't look at both eyes.
I feel like you can.
No, you really can't. You can't.
Huh.
Otherwise, you're focusing in between their eyes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I will research that. But for now, I'm just going to have to take your word for it. I feel like you can look at both eyes.
You can't
at
focus.
this. Oh, you can't focus.
Because you know you have your vision. Like you have like this little slim focus, and then it expands, and then you have peripheral.
All
I don't
right.
know what's in between the two.
So you could either drink in a whole scene
Right.
in its entirety or focus on one small point. Is that what you're telling me?
You're always going to focus in on one point.
All right, that's true. Okay, I'm looking at the wall right now, and so I am able to soak in the entire scene. But you do have to look at one thing. But
Whether you're conscious of it or
okay,
not.
and you can't make your eyes look at two different points separately. Both eyes are always going to focus on the same point. I'm going to look into that.
All right.
I see what you're saying. It feels actually, now that I'm doing it, it feels right. But I would like to know if physiologically whether or not it is possible to look at two different points simultaneously. All right. I'll try to remember that before our next podcast. I'm going to look it up and verify it. Okay. So I just wanted to quickly touch on the last podcast that we did. I was thinking about it over the weekend, the one on immigration, which I thought was pretty cool. Did you like that? It's good to hear Anna and Graciela talking about stuff. I feel like maybe I was a little hard on Americans, and that was not my intention. Did it come across that way?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much history that there's so much to
I feel like it could have easily been
say positive and negative.
Oh, for sure.
Really.
But I felt like it could have easily be interpreted. I was saying like immigrants are the best and Americans suck. And that was not my intention whatsoever. So I quickly wanted to say a few things I like about Americans.
Okay.
And Americans and America generally, even though we're all immigrants. So, but anyway,
That's true.
we really are all just immigrants. There's an interesting thing in America, and then we can get on to something a little more lighthearted and funny. But when you come over here, you kind of forget your past and you become an American. That's kind of what happens. If you're in another country like Peru, you're just a Peruvian. Like your whole life.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like, and if you go, like, if I go live in Peru, and then my family grows up in Peru, or if you go live in Ecuador, like your parents lived in Ecuador for a while, right? All right. So had you guys have been born in Ecuador, you never really would have been Ecuadorian. Almost like doesn't matter how long you stay there, you'd still be gringos to those guys.
That's true.
Like there's just no way that
That's
you could
true.
become Ecuadorian.
Right.
You're just not. You know, you might marry an Ecuadorian woman or something, and then your kids would be part Ecuadorian, and then that could happen. But if you just stayed, like you would never become Ecuadorian. But someone moves here, they become American. American is not an ethnicity. It's more like
a culture.
It's like a culture or sort of a set of principles. Basically, we're a free country. That's the idea that we hang our hat on as America. So, what I've noticed is what I like about Americans a lot is they basically, everybody embraces a couple of things having to do with the country being a free country, like freedom of religion, which is super important. Freedom of speech, super important. I think there's a really deep dedication to equality here. We're always trying to figure out what it means for everybody to be equal and have equal rights. That's been like a long-standing project. So those are some things I really like. I also like that generally most Americans are very respectful of others. And now here's what I mean by that. For example, in Ecuador or Peru, somebody might just pull up in front of your house and start banging music super loud and drinking beer like right in front of your house.
So respect of personal property.
Yeah, just respect of personal property. I think private property is a huge thing here based on our history, which plays itself out pretty nicely because in most neighborhoods you don't really have jerk neighbors. Not that much. You might end up with a jerk neighbor.
For the most part.
But for the most part, everybody's super respectful. Everybody stays off of each other's lawns. Everybody stays away from blasting super loud music late at night that messes up the whole neighborhood for everybody. So we have like a real nice, orderly, cool thing going here. And I really like that about Americans, that they tend to be very respectful of one another. So I like that quite a lot. So Americans, you can feel good about that. You're not as tough. You're not as funny. Your stories are not as good. But I think deep down Americans, like the American culture, is a culture of being good people, like generally good people.
Yeah, and the burgers are better here, so.
And also, dude, the burgers are better, and overall, American food stinks. Like, there's nothing good about American food except for burgers, basically, maybe barbecue. But we have everything here. You go to Ecuador, all they got is Ecuadorian food, maybe some Chinese food.
Well, and that also, I mean, that ties back to all the immigrants that bring their food here. That's
what's nice about it. Yeah, but that's not America. That's not a
Although
good.
Even the food that comes from the immigrants has like an American version. Like Chinese food is American version of Chinese food.
For sure. And I wonder if that's the case even if you go to the hardcore Chinese restaurants where it's all Chinese people. Like if you go to Chinatown in New York, is it still somewhat Americanized or is it, you think it's pretty authentic there?
I'm sure there's authentic places.
But the ingredients are different. The ingredients have to be different because the soil and all that stuff is different here. Yeah. All right. So anyways, Americans, you can feel good about that. You're good people, dang it. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But you should start learning jokes, people. You want me to tell you a Peruvian joke that my father-in-law told me?
Is it in Spanish?
No, I'll translate it into English.
Translated jokes only work once out of
No, this one works.
Many.
This one works. All right, you ready? All right. So my father-in-law is from a place called Celendín. All right. And the people of Celendín, the Celendinos, are known for being business people. They buy and sell. They're known as like the Jews of Peru. They buy and sell. That's what they do. They're merchants. All right. You fixing up the mic?
Yep, we're good now.
All right, cool. All right. And then there's another place in Peru called Chota.
Okay.
And the people of Chota are known for being knife fighters. They got scars on their faces.
Okay.
They're like the most brutal machete and knife fighters. So people usually leave Chota and go to Celendín. Right? Okay. So a Celendino and a Chotano, like a guy from Celendín and a guy from Chota, they're standing on a boat together. All right. And they're talking, it's cool. And then a big whale comes up and he swallows both of them and he eats them. And they end up down in the belly of the whale.
Okay.
And the Chotano starts screaming. He goes, if only I had a machete, I'd cut this whale up into pieces and I'd kill him and I'd get us out of here. And then the guy from Celendín leans in real close and he says, I have a machete. I'll sell it to you.
Okay.
Good times. Good. So anyways, that's a Peruvian joke from my father-in-law. I love it. All right, man. So you were telling me before we got started here, you had a great weekend. I've noticed you always have super great weekends. Dude, your weekends are the best. Go ahead and tell me. What'd you do? Why was it so great?
Well, lots of times when I play football, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, you want to play football?
I did.
Dang, that is a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah. Where'd you go to the park? Where'd you
go? There's an elementary school field in Kirkland.
Oh, you went to Kirkland? And Kirkland's a pretty nice place to go to.
Yeah.
All right. So how many people?
We had 9 on each team.
9 on each team?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good game.
It is. So you can do like a 4-man line. And
yeah. Pretty competitive games. How'd you play?
I played pretty well.
Did your team win?
Yes, we did.
You won some games? Was Tony and Chet and all these guys there?
Tony was.
How'd he play?
He was good.
All right, Tony. Playing on the O-line?
Yeah, he played some. He was on the other team.
So, man, I played. Have you heard of Pop Warner football? It's a football league. It's a junior football league. All right. So I played football growing up.
Is it like a national thing? Or?
It is. Yeah, it's like a big junior football league.
Okay.
So from like the age of, I want to say, maybe 8 until I was 11, maybe. I played on a football team called the Balboa Raiders. I was like one of the only white kids on the team. In the neighborhood I was in, it was all black guys and me. And so I think there was a couple of white guys, but so we stunk our first year. We were like 1-9.
Okay.
Right. And then the next year after that, we were great. We went undefeated and won the
Nice.
championship. And then the year after that, we went undefeated and won the championship again. So that was cool. It was cool to play on a winning team. But always in junior football, the dudes who are not particularly talented, the guys who don't stand out as being good players,
Yeah.
always end up on the offensive line. That's
Oh,
that's
really?
that's where you end up. It's like, since he can't run or catch or tackle people, like, the least he can do is like stand there and get in front of people and maybe get run over, but at least he can give us a little barrier before before the guys get into the backfield. So I played on O-line my entire career. And I was not.
You played on the line.
I was an O-lineman because I'm
But
skinny.
you're so thin.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. All the actual good players were doing other stuff, and they put the players who aren't that good on the O-line. That's it.
I can't imagine you on an O-line. O-line is actually like the hardest physically.
Later on,
game.
yeah, but when you're little, so here,
That's true.
dude, so
if you're all
here-
small.
here's what our whole offense was. We had what was called a single wing offense, which basically meant the quarterback was the best player on the team. We never throw the ball. Our quarterback's the best player on the team. I remember his name was John Davis. He was great. He was super great. Shotgun, hike it to him, quarterback keeper, sweep around the right side.
Sweet.
And he's by far the best athlete. He's way faster than everybody on the field.
Okay.
And he would just run it for like 60 yards every other play.
There's a quarterback on the Ravens named Lamar Jackson.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah. He runs.
He can really run.
He can really run.
It seems like that runs out pretty quick, though. If you think of all
It's
the
not really sustainable.
if you think of all the NFL players who were really good runners, I'm thinking Michael Vick, thinking Cam Newton. Who else? Tim Tebow. Like all these guys who are really talented runners. Man, they don't really become great quarterbacks a lot of times.
Right.
I guess because they don't develop
Except for
their passing
Russell
skills.
Wilson. But he changed his way of playing over the years.
He's never been like a super. Was he like a super prolific running quarterback, Russell Wilson?
His first couple of years.
Was he?
But he's changed it over the 8 years that he's been playing. He's just really steadied the game.
Yeah.
So like he's definitely the smart, well, except for maybe Tom Brady, but like the smartest
Yeah, he's
in the
a real good player,
quarterback.
and he seems like a genuinely good guy. I hope we don't find out he's like doing weird stuff that we don't know about. Seems like really good guys. Like there's always something in the closet waiting to be found out. I hope it doesn't happen with Russell Wilson.
I feel like for the most part that's with like physically talented guys, but he's like mentally talented.
Yeah, he seems really, really sharp.
He works really hard. So.
Yeah. So what else do you do this weekend other than just playing football and hanging out with your bros? 18 people is a pretty good turnout. You got a lot of people there wanting to play football.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Was it muddy?
A little
'Cause
bit,
it's been
but
raining.
it wasn't too bad. It's
Okay.
actually a really well taken care of field.
All right.
So
Glad to hear it.
it's got
So it was
good
an
amount of
actual
grass.
football field?
No.
Okay.
It's
All
just like a really flat, good grass field.
So, all right. So what else did you get up to?
I had way too many donuts on Saturday.
Oh, don't do that, man. That's not good for you, dude. Just have one donut if you're going to do that. How many donuts?
I think it was like 5 or
All right, well,
something like that.
Hey, man, I've been trying to lay off sugar. I got to admit, on Friday, we started, my family decided we're doing family game night. And my wife went to Costco and bought like this huge bag of kettle corn. Dude, and I smashed down a huge amount of kettle corn. It's so addictive. You can't lay off it. And I felt really bad the next day. Not guilty, but like physically, like I did not feel good
Okay.
because I've been eating sugar. So pounding all that sugar made me feel bad. All right. So you pounded down some donuts. Oh, what day was that?
That was Saturday. That was before football.
Dude, you're 19, right? Dang, man. Just living the good 19-year-old life. Eat 5 donuts before you go. Honestly, I think if I ate 5 donuts right now, I would fall asleep immediately. I don't think I could even function. I think my body would go into full overload.
Well,
and it would
I
just shut it
spread
down.
out over a few hours.
Still a lot of donuts.
Still a lot of donuts.
All right. My wife and I attempted to watch Blackish. I liked it. I like Black. I watched the pilot episode. So I didn't know that was the actor. I don't know that guy's name, but that guy's a funny actor. He's been in a lot of good movies.
Mhm.
Yeah. My wife poo-pooed it. She did not care for it.
She didn't like
She
it.
said she didn't really get the humor because she's like,
Oh,
she's not
that's
from
fair.
here.
That's
So like
fair.
it was a whole thing. She didn't really talk about immigrants. Like it was a whole thing. She wasn't able to really
Mhm.
get her head around it.
And if you don't understand where the country's at with the black and white thing now, and don't understand some of the history at least, it's not really funny.
So I was watching the first episode where he becomes the senior VP of urban programming.
urban
development. All right, let me just do a quick pitch here. IBASbusiness.com. Go check it out. I want to talk to you about our cost savings solution. $500 will save you at least $5,000 a year. You cannot lose on that. If you don't save at least $5,000 a year from this very unique cost savings program that we have, we'll refund you all of your money. So if you don't save at least $5,000, we'll give you the $500 back. We'll do the work for free. You cannot lose. Only the worst case scenario is we save you some money without charging you. Most likely, you're going to at least get a 10x return. So please visit us at ibasbusiness.com and check out the cost reduction solution. All right. Let me ask you this, man. You're talking about the black and white thing in this country. What do you think? What is the black and white thing in this country? We can talk about that. Because it seems like it's kind of going away, you know?
Yeah, but it still exists. I mean, I think we probably don't see it as much in the area that we live in.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the police thing.
Is that still? I don't really watch the news that much anymore. Is it still in the news?
I think it's died down as of late. But
yeah.
At least in our area.
Yeah,
in the Northwest.
Yeah, I remember once. So it definitely exists, but it seems like it shouldn't exist as much as it does, you know, because especially if white folks are racist against black people, that is an insane position to take, especially now, especially in the state of Washington. I remember I went up to Issaquah Highlands, which is near where we live, with my boys. It was all Indian people. I was the only white guy there. So if anything, Indian should
there is a lot of Indians in the area.
White folks are becoming minorities, dude.
Yeah,
like more and more.
Well, a lot because of the tech companies in this area.
Yeah,
Amazon.
So less and less are white people in a position to discriminate against
white people
anybody.
In this area are definitely the minority.
Yeah, we are not in a position to discriminate. We should just be best friends with everybody. But on a more global level, people are just people, right? Like people. Mm-hmm. There might be some cultural differences depending on where you grew up, but we're all really into the same stuff, looking for the same stuff.
Trying to live.
Like we're trying to live, trying to get the potatoes out of the ground, like saying in Belarus. Trying to raise our kids, trying to get ahead, trying to watch funny stuff on TV, trying to balance your donut intake against how fat you get, how fat you get, and how out of shape you feel. Yeah. Everybody's going through the exact same stuff. It's pretty weird in 2019 that there should be any kind of racism whatsoever. It just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. It doesn't add up, does it? To you? It doesn't add up at all.
Well, it shouldn't exist, but it does.
I know it does, but it's not logical. That's the thing that bothers me about it.
It's a strange thing. Yeah.
I can't get my head around it at all. Maybe at some point in the past, you had different groups of people all competing for the same resources, and so it made more sense for you to be around other people who looked like you, so you could group up and take out the other team, you know? Mm-hmm. But it's not like that at all anymore. I just can't get my head around why anybody in their right mind would be racist at all. Thoughts?
Probably pride.
Pride?
Mm-hmm.
Just super proud to be of a certain race, mm-hmm. and you just look down and you're, really? Mm-hmm. Huh. That's that whole idea is very foreign to me. Pride. Honestly, I've never once in my whole life felt super proud about being white. It's kind of like being proud about being tall. I think a lot of tall guys are like, yeah, I'm the big dog around here. You have no control over it. You should not be proud about anything that you did not create on your own. Being tall is just luck, or
that's true.
Whatever skin color you're born with, it's just purely the luck of the draw. It has nothing to do with anything. You just are born Chinese. It's like, oh, I'm in China. Well, son of a gun, I'm Chinese. And dang it, I'm the best. It's like, you're not the best. You were just born in China. It has nothing to do with anything at all. Yes?
That's true.
I will tell a story, though. This will probably be, I want to call it 11 years ago in San Diego. I needed to get a haircut. You know when you like need a haircut bad, you can't really think about anything else.
Yeah.
Or when you need to clip your fingernails.
Yeah,
you're like every time you look at it, you're like, oh
exactly.
God, I hate this. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm walking. I'm just like, Mary. I told my wife, Mary, next barbershop we come across, I'm getting my haircut. I don't care. And we happened to be driving through not the best neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a terrible neighborhood, but I was like, there's a barber. Come on, turn around. So we turned around. I walked into the door. We parked. Mary and I walked into the door, and there was like a long hallway to get to the actual barbershop. And I just heard banter, tons of noise, tons of people laughing, having a good time. I made it right down this hallway. I walked into the barbershop. As soon as I stepped foot into the actual area where people cut hair, silence. It was all black people. It was like a black person barbershop. Total silence. Everybody just like, it's kind of like they turn it's like music's playing, they turn it off. It's like, and everybody like turned around and looked at me. And I was just like, it was pretty awkward, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they did not feel very comfortable having a white dude in there at all. What would you have done? Would you have stayed or left?
Left.
You would have turned around and left? Like, sorry, guys, I don't mean to put you through this. You would have turned around and left? Mm-hmm. Too shy? Too awkward? Or you just wouldn't want to impose yourself on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not.
So I stayed. I was like, well, I'm here.
If they don't want me there, then why should I be there?
I don't even think it was that they didn't want me there. I think it was just that they were so caught off guard. It was like a neighborhood place where the same people come in all the time. It could have been that if anybody walked in that they didn't know, it would have been awkward because it was maybe a neighborhood place. True. But in this case, I just stayed. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So I just stayed, and the guy's like, one of the barbers is like, all right, I guess, come on over. And so I sat down, and he started touching my hair like this. He started touching the top of my head. Like, he was like trying to feel my hair because, a white guy's hair is different. So he's touching my hair, and I could just almost feel the way he was thinking. He's like, I don't know how to cut this guy's hair. He did not know how to cut my hair. Like, he's not used to cutting a white dude's hair. It's different. Yeah. So he just buzzed the whole thing. He did a pretty bad job. He did not know how to cut my hair. I had to go get my hair cut somewhere else, like to just kind of fix it up. Mm-hmm. So there are those cultural differences, which is fine. But those guys weren't racist. They just were caught off guard. And actually, while the guy was cutting my hair, various people came in, saw that there was a white guy in there, started laughing, and walked out.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty awkward. So, but that doesn't mean like, so just because there's differences in culture doesn't mean that one's better than the other. Right. Everybody's just different.
Yeah, there's no reason. Culture has its pros.
It does, but one's not really better than the other, unless your culture is like you're allowed to beat up your wife or something like that. Then that's not a good culture. No. Yeah. Let me do another pitch here. Are there some cultures where people are allowed to beat up their wives? There must be.
There must be. I don't know which one.
Those cultures are no good. All right. IBASbusiness.com. Want to hire a dude who's got all these weird stories to do your accounting? Visit IBASbusiness.com. Click on the bookkeeping picture there and check us out. Also, check out IBASforums.com where you can get paid to answer questions. You get paid to share your expertise. It's $20 a month, and we give half of the money that we collect to the people with the most liked answers. Check it out. It's IBASforums.com. All right, what else you want to talk about, man? Because I keep talking about this race issue if you want me to. But we could talk about something else too if you want to bring it up.
What do you like? Do you watch videos on YouTube and stuff?
I do some. Yeah, I do. I'm doing less and less. Did you see the Bill Gates documentary on Netflix? Oh, you don't have Netflix anymore.
No, what's that about?
It's about Bill Gates and how he got rich and famous, and like what his habits are and what he's doing with his time now. Mm-hmm. He's trying to fix like water cleanliness in Africa right now. Yeah. Which is awesome. But ever since, so he carries around a bag of books everywhere he goes, like a duffel bag just filled with books. So that dude is reading and learning all the time. And ever since I watched that, I have kind of been soured to YouTube videos. But the one thing I do like to watch is sports highlights. What about you? What do you watch?
Yeah, I watch football highlights.
But even last now, man.
Yeah. I watched in a video that Bill Gates says that if he only sits down to read if he has an hour or more.
Oh, really?
Like he doesn't read for just 15 minutes.
He needs to really, because
he doesn't have the time to like meditate on it
and really get into
think about it.
Yeah. That's a good point. But if you're like me, it's hard for me to find a stretch of an hour to read. Really, it is. So now I'm getting better at when I was going to get out my phone and start looking at a YouTube video. I'm getting a lot better now at not doing that and just trying to pick up a book and read something. So I've been reading a little bit about the history of the American education system because we talked about schooling a little bit before. So I've been dabbling in that. I think what I use YouTube now mostly for is to just hear interviews. I don't even watch the video. I just listen to like interviews while I'm working or something like that. I'm much more likely to do that than to actually watch a video.
Okay. Like interviews of famous people or whatever?
Yeah, I'm into listening to interviews of famous people, or I really like to listen to like successful business guys talk, like give advice. But I don't watch the video. I just put on the headset. Yeah, I just Google like Mark Cuban or put like Mark Cuban in there or something. You like Mark Cuban?
I mean, I've seen his daily routine.
I never heard
There's
that.
like I can't remember which channel it is, but a bunch of like celebrities or business people, they go through their daily routine.
Okay, so what does Mark Cuban do? Do you remember?
He checks his phone.
Okay.
He's got like a couple of phones. So he says he uses email like all day. That's what he does basically. But he like takes his kids to school. That's one thing. I can't remember much else from what he did. Oh, he works out.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to work on a little morning routine too. I know a lot of guys do that. I never heard Mark Cuban's in particular, but I think I'm starting to dial in a good morning routine. I think it needs some tweaks. It's not quite there yet, but I'm getting better. You do any kind of morning routine stuff? Do you have like an intentional routine that you do in the morning?
Really, because I kind of do, but it's not the same every day because my schedule varies quite a bit.
Yeah.
But like on the days we do the podcast, I get up at 8.
Unfortunately, you usually sleep in later than 8?
No,
okay.
unless it's Sunday.
Okay.
And then I like read and watch some YouTube videos until like 9, take a shower, eat, and while I eat, I'll like watch a documentary or something.
Nice.
And then I come here.
All right. So what I've been doing is I get up early, obviously for like 4:15, and then I'm drinking my salt water drink that I drink, lemon and salt water drink to get the minerals and to get hydrated. And then I do like 60 jumping jacks because again I read it's good to set your circadian clock to like be active in the morning so your body knows like, all right, I'm definitely awake now. This is real. This is the real thing. And then what I've started doing for the last month or so is I've started writing. So I remember I mentioned on a podcast I wanted to write a self-help book.
Right.
I'm actually doing that now.
Nice.
So I'm starting to write. I'm trying to write for like a half an hour a day. So I do that right because that's to me the hardest thing to get done is to sit and write. It really is hard. I think it is. Like to just sit and just try to like say something. So I started doing that. So I'll do that until like 5. And then I'm going downstairs and I'm working out for like 20 minutes. Like I try to just do like 5 or 6 exercises and I just pump them out until I can't do any more of that exercise. So like push-ups, I'll just do push-ups until like I literally, my body gives in and I try to push up and body's like, no, you have no more strength left. So I do that and then I'll do like tricep exercises and I'll do squats. And then I like shadow box, I throw punches until my arms are literally like, you can't do anymore. So I do that. It usually takes me 20 to 25 minutes to get that done. So I'm back upstairs like 5:20 now, 5:20, 5:30. And then I just picked the number one job, like whatever's going on in the business, the number one job that absolutely has to get done today, that no matter what, it can't be forgotten about. I do that in the morning from like 5:30 to 7. And then my kids wake up at 7 and stuff and everything falls apart. The only other part of it that's routine is when I take a shower in the morning, I turn on the cold water for 3 minutes and take an ice cold shower for 3 minutes. And also I started taking vitamins and supplements and stuff. So
what time do you leave the house?
9:30.
9:30?
Yeah.
So like 2 hours and a half of it is...
Well, so like from 7 to 7:30 I shower. And then I wake up my wife and then I get breakfast ready and stuff. So, and then usually it's only about like an hour maybe where I'm not back to work. And usually what I do is since like the kids are around and stuff and I can't really focus, I usually try to catch up on emails from like 8:30 to 9:15. So I get another 45 minutes of just like writing emails before I come into the office.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like that. So that's pretty much how it has to be. And then I also get up, I get up usually at the same time on the weekends as well. Although I have started sleeping in on Sundays. So That morning routine is 6 days a week. Sunday, I'm sleeping in now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I like sleeping on Sundays.
Was that? Oh, it's food. Sleeping
It's
so
great.
good. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should just start sleeping more. Generally, 'cause
Yeah.
I don't want to end up crazy. I think you kind of, when you don't sleep, you start to get kind of like a crazy person.
Do you always reply to emails on your laptop or ever on your phone?
Sometimes on my phone. You? Why do you ask?
It's half and half.
Half and half.
Yeah, because like Mark Cuban says he does all on his phone.
All on his phone. I suck at writing on my phone. Are you good at it? Can you bang it out?
Yeah, it's probably a little faster on the laptop, but the time that it takes to get my laptop out sometimes takes longer than if I just write it on my phone.
I'd say I must be like 90% on my laptop because you have 5 fingers. On your phone, you just have 2 thumbs.
Yeah,
It feels like a lot slower.
But you can, I mean, it depends. You can get pretty good at it.
Teach their own. The other thing that I've been hearing a lot of guys talk about when I listen to these interviews is they talk a lot about visualization. So I'm thinking I might also try to just start doing 5 minutes a day, just sit and visualize. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds so stupid. But like, why do all these guys, there's like a super famous book, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's basically about visualization. I think the concept behind it is that, like the theory behind it, is that our subconscious, like all the stuff that our brain does and is working on that we have no idea like at all about what's going on, is if you start to do like the visualization thing, you start to get your subconscious working on stuff behind the scenes, right? And you have all of this processing power working on these goals and these dreams that you have, and then ideas ideas or inspiration or whatever, the things that you need to actually achieve those goals, start to pop into your conscious mind.
Yeah, that probably does work, because I know with like basketball with free throws, if you visualize making that free throw from the shot to the finish, you're more likely to make it than if you just shot it.
I've heard over and over again from high performers, athletes, whatever, that visualization is a super big deal. And I think a lot of it also has to do with you actually have to believe something that's gonna, like, something will happen in order for it to happen. Otherwise, you just won't give the right kind of effort.
Right.
And so I also think the visualization thing is you might be trying to achieve some crazy goal that's totally unrealistic. And so you have to convince yourself that it's possible and that it's real. Otherwise, you just won't go for it the way you need to go for it. So like starting a podcast and actually making it, like get people to actually listen to it. It's not that easy. You have to actually believe you could do it, and that if you stick with it, something will come out of it. And so that's where I think I'm not even doing it. So this is the theory I think I understand is you start imagining like this is what it'll be like when the podcast actually is successful. This is how it's going to look. This is how it's going to feel. This is how many people are going to listen to it. And then it starts to become more and more real to you, and your subconscious starts putting ideas into your conscious brain about what you got to do to make it actually happen. Maybe I'll start trying to visualize the podcast. I'll just try that. Or we could just test it. Yeah, and just see if it'll actually work. Might as well try it. Like, you don't lose anything trying stuff. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's the show for today. Zip it up and zip it out. Zippity do that.